Good afternoon and welcome to a very, very exciting conference and presentation today. This is the Global Pain Association, and it is our every Saturday virtual pain education series. My name is Aaron Eisenberg. I have the honor of being the moderator for these programs. My background is in communications, broadcasting. I'm a lawyer as well, and over the years have had the pleasure of moderating literally hundreds of medical related programs like this. And I can tell you, of all the ones I have done, I truly have learned the most about chronic pain and ways to deal with it in this series. So I encourage you, invite friends, neighbors, anyone who may have chronic pain, maybe you yourself, to participate. And I think you're going to learn a great deal from these programs. The Chronic Pain Association program today is brought to you by the Virtual Pain Education Series, Alamo Area Council of Governments, and we thank them for sponsoring today's program. ACOG and the Area Agency on Aging, the AAA, have collaborated with Texas Health and the Human Services Commission to address opioid misuse among adults 60 years and older. Free doTERRA, a drug deactivation kit, is available to dispose of expired prescription opioid medications. Proper disposal of safeguards older adults as well as the environment. In addition, magnets are available identifying types of opioids along with a local telephone number for substance abuse resources. If you're interested in obtaining one of these kits or learn more about opioid misuse, contact the AAA at 210-277-3275, 210-477-3275, or toll free 866-231-4922. 866-231-4922. And now I have the pleasure of welcoming to our weekly program the originator, sponsor, the driving force behind the Global Pain Association, Dr. Susan Blackwood. You probably know her from San Antonio sports and more. She's been very involved in athletics over the years, and because of that, can tell you how especially high-level amateur and professional athletes, challenged as they are with chronic pain, often look for this kind of program, alternatives to medication and other ways in which to deal with chronic pain. And you learn about it through the Global Pain Association. Susan Blackwood, thanks for coming on. Tell us why you put together the Global Pain Association.
Well, we saw a need in the community, Ron, for people with chronic pain and their caregivers to have resources and a community that we could build around them to give them support. My mother was addicted to painkillers for 40 years. I saw how it affected her life, and I really wanted to work with these other volunteers to give back and to create this organization.
In your mother's case, did you know that she was addicted?
I was probably in denial. She had a lot of issues, and she was in a lot of pain. But it affected her quality of life to every extent possible.
And for the Global Pain Association, you've pulled in some real experts on the board.
We've got a small board, all volunteers. They've made sacrifices with their time and resources, and we're really pleased to have them as some of our speakers. And thank you for moderating this series. We couldn't do it without you and the Eisenberg Group producing this, and to ACOG for being a sponsor today. They do so many wonderful services for the community that people don't know about, and hopefully through these kinds of series, people will know more about the services and their support.
Well, I feel like some of the TV folks whose contracts get extended, because originally we were going to do this May and June, and you've got some good news today.
Absolutely. Our board voted last week after a very successful series on Saturday to extend the series through the month of July and August. So, of course, we're looking for resources and topics, and people can write us at www.globalpain.org and give us whatever suggestions they want in terms of topics. And they can also get involved and even make a donation through our website.
And you're always looking for underwriting.
Absolutely. And just like ACOG has stepped up and River City Cardiovascular last week, very, very well-meaning people and organizations that are really supportive of our efforts.
Well, we're going to move on to today's program, and we're going to bring you back a little later. So sit back, enjoy your pina colada, and we'll get Susan Blackwood on in just a couple more minutes. Some of you have met Susan Shelton before. She has been on this program. She has shared her knowledge and her wisdom. She is an LPC, a licensed professional counselor and therapist, an art therapist extraordinaire, and she is here today to talk about a number of areas that deal with chronic pain that do not involve excessive use of medication, or in some cases, any medication. And if you go back far enough, Susan Shelton is an example of how you can learn to manage chronic pain because, Susan, you've had it for a lot of years.
Thank you, Ron. Yes, I've had chronic pain since about 2004. In 2006, I was diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome, which is an autoimmune disease that my immune system attacks me, and it causes chronic pain and chronic fatigue.
And when you say your immune system attacks you, when it does that, it hurts.
It does. My tears are not the right consistency, so I'm always putting in tears. It causes inflammation in the body, which if anybody living with chronic pain knows, inflammation equals pain. So I do live with chronic pain and chronic fatigue.
And one of the things that you've adapted your practice into is helping your patients understand ways in which they can develop coping exercises. And we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to have an example of art therapy that you have prepared for us. And I'm excited to see that. But let's begin with coping exercises. What are they?
You know, a coping skill is anything at all that gets you through the tough times. I like to think of coping skills as falling into 6 different categories. The first one, kind of the most obvious, is distracting yourself. This can be a phone call with a good friend, reading, TV, games, anything that just gets your mind off of what your physical body might be experiencing in the way of chronic pain. The second one is grounding exercises. Sometimes pain can get us into an anxious mode where we're feeling overwhelmed with anxiety. Grounding can help bring your energy out of your brain and into the world around you. And I've got a couple exercises in a minute that I'll share with you. Emotional release is about just letting it out. Sometimes with chronic pain, we get pretty angry because things are not working out for us. Maybe we've tried umpteen different medications. Maybe just we're having a rough pain day. So crying, screaming, running, whatever you can do to let those emotions out. You know, I tell my clients, if you've got some sadness inside and you're having trouble letting it out, pop in a sad movie, watch something that'll help you express those emotions.
P.S. I Love You would be a good example.
Yes. Oh, that's a terribly sad one. Self-love is about being nice to yourself, kind of being your own best friend, whether it's taking a bubble bath. For some people, it might be a simple act of making your bed. You know, that can be a nice gift to yourself. So just being nice to you can be a really powerful coping skill. It shows yourself that you are of value. Thought challenge, that's the toughest one out of all 6, but it can be so important in helping your brain rewire itself. You know, sometimes when we have chronic pain, we get into these tapes that we just play over and over again. You know, I should be able to do this, or I'm upset or angry that I can't do these things. So when we challenge those thoughts, it can be really hard because your brain is an efficient machine. It likes to do what it knows. So challenging the thought of I should be able to tie my shoes today is tough. My favorite way to do this is to ask yourself 3 questions. Ask yourself, give me 3 reasons why that's not true. Why should I be able to tie my shoes? Well, realistically, I've got, mechanics in my back and I can't bend over. That's the truth. So
yeah, that's me in compression socks. I should be able to put on my compression socks.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And then the last one before I move forward, I just wanted to share is to access your higher self. You know, whether that's a faith that you have or doing for others, when we connect and serve the needs of other people, we put our own experience in a different light and it becomes so much easier to get through. Now, what I have here is a couple of grounding exercises. A lot of people may have heard about this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's using your senses. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 good thing about yourself. For each item, you would name it, but you would also describe it with 2 words. Like if I were holding a mirror, I would say it's a gold round mirror. And what this does is it gets that little hamster off the wheel in your brain that's churning out those anxiety thoughts. And it takes a lot of effort, but it is really powerful in helping us to calm and relax.
And Salina, which of these various coping skills do you use?
I use all of them. I use the grounding. I do, well, actually right now I'm accessing my higher self and making this video to share with people who also have pain. It helps me know, 1, I'm not alone in my pain experience, and 2, there are things that can be done. I don't feel so helpless or hopeless when I'm able to do for others. Grounding, distraction, all of them. I think they're all great, and they all have their place. Sometimes you can't let out that scream, when you're in the middle of HEB. So not when you do it home by yourself, things like that.
Now, Salina, one of the things we've also talked about is your background and experience in art therapy and how that works. We throw it out as if we all understand what it is, but for many of us who are not artists, let's talk about that in a moment after we talk about breathing, because that can lead us into the art therapy portion.
Connecting with our breath is such a relaxing thing to do. When we get anxious, and honestly, chronic pain can create anxiety because it's an alarm that's going off in your body. So your breath gets real short and fast. Calming the breath and connecting with it can help us, again, reduce that anxiety. And I have here a little technique I use with clients. For each body part, you inhale and stretch the muscle, and then exhale and relax. And by connecting the breath and the body and what they're doing together, that helps the brain release all those wonderful relaxation chemicals. Believe it or not, these can help take just a tiny little edge off the pain. And by continued practice, can help us become more in control of our pain experience.
Give us an example of how that would sound, connecting a body part to breathing.
So when I inhale, maybe I will flex my ankle forward, flex both my ankles. So inhale, stretch your ankles. Exhale, relax the ankles. Inhale, stretch my left leg. Exhale, relax my left leg. So I'm paying attention to 2 things at once. It makes it hard for my brain to kind of freak out over anything else that's going on in my world right now, because I'm paying attention to right now.
Well, I love the analogy you use, because I could envision as you did that hamster getting so frustrated. Darn, she did it again.
Yeah.
And he gets off the wheel, right?
Yeah, he does. And he'll try to get back on, but that's why practicing these coping skills is so important.
Now, how often should you do these exercises, and how do they then fold into art therapy?
So I love doing coping skills, honestly, anytime you can. A lot of people think, oh, well, I'll do it when I need it. But if you try something new for the first time when you're anxious, your brain is not going to have time for that. It's going to say, no, I've got a freak out mode right here. Let me do my thing. So I say practice your coping skills while you're watching TV, while you're doing the dishes, while you're going for a walk. That way, when you need them, they're already learned in your brain. Your brain's like, okay, I think I can do that. Let me try it. Your brain is more willing to go with you because it's been there before. And how? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just was going to ease into art therapy.
Yeah, these things are actually, we embody them when we make art. So coping skills, art therapy, mindfulness, they are all kind of sisters in the same family. When people hear I'm an art therapist, one of the first questions I get asked is, what is that? Art for therapists or therapy for artists? No, it's for everybody. Art therapy is just about engaging in the creative process so that we can get to our inner world, bring it out so that we can see it. Once we can see it, we can understand it better. We can begin to change it, and we can communicate with it. One of my favorite things that I hear from my clients, we do a lot of body-oriented art therapy, so we might draw body maps about our pain. When they take it home and share it with their loved ones, they now have a tangible object that their loved one can say, oh, I didn't know you felt like that. This helps me. So it's a great way to communicate what you're experiencing.
And you don't have to be an artist.
You absolutely don't. People tell me I can't draw a straight line, I can't draw a stick figure. Well, I don't want to draw straight. Why would you want to draw a straight line, And stick figures count. It's really just about getting that inner world out. Our brain doesn't think in words, it thinks in images. It is a natural language for our brain. You can rip pages out of a magazine, collage them together, and that is art therapy. That is healing and helpful because you are tapping into what's going on inside and expressing it. Art therapists work with everybody. We work with chronic pain, trauma, depression, eating disorders. People use art therapy to understand themselves better, to gain insight, to gain awareness. And it is healing to make something while you're in a calm state.
Now, you've got a little demonstration that you have.
I do.
Yeah.
I have a really exciting activity. Now, I've written out the instructions on one of these slides that we're going to come up to. So later in the video, if you're watching this on replay, you can just pause on the instructions and kind of follow through. But I'm going to go through it with you right now. So what you need for this exercise is blank copy paper, just one, but you can have as many as you like, and some markers. Any markers will do. Crayolas are great. So first thing you do, you're going to make a bunch of dots. Make them, fill the page with dots. They can be as many as you like, as few as you like, and just start making dots until you feel I've made enough dots.
Colors don't matter.
Any color. I say stick with one, but any color. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel like doing. Here, I've just made a page full of green dots. The next thing I'm going to do, I am going to grab a different color, and I'm going to choose one dot. Any dot, doesn't matter. I'm going to put a little X on it, and that's my starting dot. I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to connect several of these dots. Not all of them, just some of them. I'm going to draw a line connecting them, and then when I'm done drawing my line, I'm going to go back to the first one that I started at. So now I've got a really crazy shape here. And what I'm going to do...
It's a fox. It's not crazy. Hold it up again.
You see a fox.
I see a fox.
I love it. You're way ahead of me, Ron. So now cool. I'm going to hold it at arm's length, and I'm going to twist it and turn it until I see something in that picture. And once I see it, I am going to, I have my sample here. Once I see that picture, I'm going to use my other markers to fill it out. So this is one I did earlier. And to me, he looks like a goofy bird just kind of trying to get through. He's trying to fly. I don't know what he's doing, but I saw this. So I used the rest of my markers, and I just kind of finished up the picture so that it could show up. Now here comes the last part, and I feel this is the most therapeutic, the most healing part is, or not the most, but a really good one. I'm going to give it a voice. I'm going to let it speak. When I look at this guy, when I sat and I looked at him yesterday and I went inside and I felt around, what is this guy trying to say? He's tired. So I gave him a voice. He says, man, I'm tired. And this is just a simple technique. I invite my clients to do it once a day, every day. You can do it a couple of times. Whenever something's going on and you're like, how do I feel about that? Or what's going on? Very easy, very accessible. And it can be a starting point for maybe a journal activity, or even take it into your therapist and say, hey, what do you think about this?
Now, Salina, one of our viewers commented that this activity could be great even for people without chronic pain. It can help deal with the stresses of daily life.
This is an activity that is accessible to anybody. I do this with teens who have depression, school anxiety. I think this is a really great activity simply because it allows us to draw on color. It actually requires us. A lot of times we don't use color in our day-to-day, and color helps us to access our emotions. There's a lot of science behind it. I'm not going to go into it, but it helps us tap into things that we normally kind of push aside. And it's a very non-confrontational way to explore it in a safe way.
Now, if you've just joined us, she is Salina Shelton, a licensed professional counselor, a therapist, also certified in art therapy, and does a lot to help folks with chronic pain. She's an original founding member of the board of the Global Pain Association, someone who has struggled with chronic pain all her life. And we just went through a little exercise that you can do at home safely and frequently in art therapy, and run through the directions one more time, which you have up on the screen now.
Absolutely. It's quite simple. You only need markers. I encourage you to have at least a few colors so that you can flesh out the picture once you're done, and copy paper. You can do this. It doesn't have to be copy paper. You can do it in a journal and keep a whole book of them going if you'd like. You start off by making dots across the page. I like this part to take it slow and easy, or maybe you have a bunch of fast dots that need to come out quickly. Just keep making dots until you feel like, okay, I'm done making dots. Once you've done, set that marker down and grab a different color. Put an X on any dot on the page, and that's your starting and stopping dot. Start drawing a line. You don't have to give it any thought, just dot to dot, connect some dots. When you're done drawing that line, go back to your first dot. Now, hold the image at arm's length. Twist it and turn it. Turn it upside down, rotate it until you see an image in that shape. Once you see an image, grab your other markers and start fleshing out the picture. Does it need eyes or feet or fur, or just make that picture show up that you saw in your head. We are not going to be calling the McNay. We don't need to be making fabulous art. This is just an expression of what's going on inside. So feel free to let it out however it shows up. And the last step is to give it a voice. Let it speak. It has something to say because it showed up. So let it do that.
And what it's saying really is coming from you.
It absolutely is. It's coming from that inner voice that we really don't pay attention to too much. I listened yesterday when mine said, man, I'm tired. I got the message. Okay, I probably need to step back a little bit. So, yeah.
I'm one of those people on a big, puffy, white, cloudy day who loves spotting images in clouds.
Yeah.
And you can see amazing images that last for a while and then may just poof, blow away.
That's a fun activity too. You know, you can do that. Art therapy doesn't have to be colors and markers. You know, I've done something similar to that. We take a picture of the cloud and then we can draw on it with our phones. If you're not, you know, tangible things, our smartphones are with us all the time. It's a great way to get creative in a more natural way, if that works for you.
Neat idea. Tell us before we say goodbye to you, what we haven't touched on that you want to share with folks. And if they want to get a hold of you, can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. They can find me at hopewisesa.com. Hopewise Integrative Mental Health. We specialize in working with people who have chronic pain. You know, my passion is sharing art with people who have pain, but I think art is healing for so many things. I do art with people who have trauma, depression, anxiety, all sorts of things. It sounds scary. It can be intimidating. But as I mentioned earlier, it's not about capital A art. It's just about accessing what's going on inside.
Well, Salina Shelton, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You do such a great job.
Thank you.
And we'll talk soon.
All right. You have a good one.
Now, we want to take a moment and thank our newest sponsor for the Global Pain Association's weekly series. And we're delighted to welcome the folks from ACOG, the Alamo Area Council of Governments. ACOG and the Bay Area Agency on Aging, or AAA, have collaborated with Texas Health and Human Services Commission to address opioid misuse among adults 60 years of age and older. Free Deterra, a drug deactivation kit, is available to dispose of expired prescription opioid medication. Proper disposal safeguards older adults as well as the environment. Additionally, magnets are available identifying types of opioids, along with a local telephone number for substance abuse resources. If you're interested in obtaining the kit, the magnet, or other AAA services, just call 210-477-3275. 210-477-3275, or toll free 866-231-4922. Well, that was really interesting, learning as much as we did from Salina Shelton. Let's bring Susan Blackwood, Dr. Blackwood, back to our microphone and our Facebook camera. You're watching us, by the way, on the Global Pain Association Facebook page. And Susan, That was fascinating stuff.
I love that. I'm still kind of doodling here at my desk, just getting started. But Salina's such an expert, and again, that's an example of the caring and dedicated people that we have on our board. She's done a great job of helping us with our social media platforms, etc. So we're very grateful for her service, and also to the Eisenberg Group for making sure that this series continues. Again, we're going to be here to the end of August. And I can't think of a better way to spend our Saturdays at noon is helping people in San Antonio and thereabout deal with their chronic pain. We're going to have a session for caregivers. We've got several things planned, and we're going to be posting that schedule pretty soon.
Now, what we might do is all the folks who are watching between now and next Saturday, talk to a friend who you know may have chronic pain or have a family member with chronic pain. Tell them about the series. And if they don't know how to get onto a Facebook Live production like this, it is so easy. Show them how to do it, because there are a lot of folks who are somewhat intimidated by technology. But once you're on and watching, it's so simple. And from your standpoint, Susan, my guess is the Global Pain Association could use some more participation from area experts.
Absolutely. And we've got an advisory council that's meeting even after this Zoom call, after this series is over today, to talk about those topics and those experts. And I want to remind everybody they don't even have to have a Facebook account to be able to get on and watch this series. And we have instructions on the website on how to get on, etc. But if anybody has other topics they'd like us to include, and I'm sure we won't run out of topics. There's no doubt about it. They can just send that to us at info@globalpain.org. And they can also go to globalpain.org/get-involved/donate if they want to make a donation to help us keep the series going.
And that's perfect. And keeping the series going, the board last week agreed to keep it going through July and August, which we are very, very excited about. Anything else you want to add, Susan?
No, I just want to thank Salina again for getting me all inspired with her decision to help us share her experience with us about art therapy.
That's perfect. Coming up next week, and thank you to Susan Blackwood. Coming up next week, our topic is feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, in the era of COVID-19. Our presenters, Rebecca Christofferson, who is a registered nurse, and Dr. Jennifer Sutton, who is a PCP. And I'm pleased to note that Rebecca has been following us and commenting as this particular session rolled out. So she's going to be all set for next week. Rebecca Christofferson, a registered nurse, and Dr. Jennifer Sutton, PCP. Next week, feeling overwhelmed in the era of COVID-19. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had a great time and learned a little bit. I know I did. And that's what this is all about. If you or someone you know struggles with chronic pain, we're offering you not only alternative treatments and theories, but ways in which you can learn how to manage the kind of chronic pain that you're struggling with, or maybe a loved one, or maybe you're a caregiver for someone with chronic pain. So until next Saturday at noon, I'm Ron Aaron Eisenberg. Talk with you soon, right here on the Global Pain Association Facebook page. Take care, everybody.